Welcome to the Gentle Ledger. Today is Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. The market mood felt like a late-night group chat that suddenly got polite again, still intense, just phrased more carefully. Now, let's turn softly to the U.S. indexes and where they finally rested at the close. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended at 49,662.66, up 0.26%. The S&P 500 closed at 6,881.31, higher by 0.56%. The Nasdaq Composite finished at 22,753.63, up 0.78%. And the Russell 2000 closed at 2,658.61, up 0.45%. It was a day that climbed with conviction in the morning, then eased back into something more measured by the afternoon, still positive, still constructive, but no longer reaching for the ceiling, gently moving into the corporate highlights. The market's narrative becomes clearer when we listen to individual tickers, one by one, like small voices in a crowded room. At the center was NVIDIA, up 1.6%, after news of a multi-year arrangement to supply large volumes of current and future AI chips to Meta, which closed up 0.6%. The move didn't feel like hype tonight. It felt like reinforcement, the market acknowledging that the AI build-out still has real contracts, real budgets, and real urgency behind it. The software mood also softened into relief. Cadence Design Systems jumped 7.6% after results that came in stronger than expected, briefly easing the market's recent anxiety that smarter tools automatically mean weaker incumbents. In more traditional earnings and guidance reactions, analog devices added 2.6%, supported by upbeat expectations and a sense of resilience in data center demand. Global payments surged over 16%, one of the day's sharpest moves, after projecting annual adjusted profit above expectations, an emphatic reminder that not every rally needs to come from silicon and GPUs. Healthcare offered its own small pulse of optimism. Moderna climbed about 6%, helped by news that regulators will review its influenza vaccine candidate, one of those developments that can feel, even in a market context, quietly human. And to keep the day honest, there was a clear loser as well. Palo Alto Networks fell 6.8% after trimming its annual profit forecast, a sober counterweight to the AI optimism, proof that even in a rising tape, the market remains unforgiving when guidance disappoints. Overseas, in Asia and Europe, the mood carried across gently, echoing the U.S. upswing, but with its own texture. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 rose 1.02% to 57,143.84, leaning into the brighter global tone. In China, trading was quiet. Several mainland markets remained closed for Lunar New Year holidays, and the center of gravity shifted to the edges. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng ended up 0.52% at 26,705.94 in thinner holiday conditions, a modest lift that still felt meaningful simply because it arrived without drama. In Europe, the uplift was clearer and more unified. The StoXX 600 climbed 1.19%, closing at a record high, the kind of move that feels like confidence returning in slow motion. The UK's FTSE 100 rose 1.23% to 10,686.18, also pushing into record territory. Taken together, the global mood felt aligned, not euphoric but willing. In commodities and bonds, the story shifted quietly, and then, in a few places, it surged. Oil moved sharply higher amid renewed supply worries. WTI crude jumped 4.59% to settle at $65.19 per barrel, and Brent rose 4.35% to $70.35. The move had the feeling of headlines leaking into price, geopolitics, uncertainty, and the market's instinct to hedge. Gold also rose, steady and bright, with spot prices up 2.22% to about $4,985.46 an ounce. Less a celebration, more a familiar retreat towards something that feels solid when the world feels complicated. In the bond market, the story was quieter but still directional. The U.S. 10-year Treasury yield rose to about 4.08%, edging higher as stronger than expected economic data kept investors mindful that the path to rate cuts may remain slow, deliberate, and conditional. Turning now to the newer corners of finance, in crypto land, sentiment cooled even as equities advanced. Bitcoin traded near $66,196, down about 2.15%. Ethereum hovered around $1,938, down roughly 3.08%. It felt less like a separate crypto narrative and more like a reminder that risk appetite can be selective, comfortable with large cap tech for a day, while still cautious with the more liquid, more reactive edges of finance. And now, in a reflective summary and outlook, we'll hold the day gently without trying to predict what comes next. Today felt like a return to forward motion, but with softer footsteps. The indexes rose, the AI complex steadied, and Europe joined in with unusual confidence. Yet the rally still trimmed itself by the end, as if the market didn't want to tempt fate. The emotional tone was not excitement, but composure, optimism that's learned to speak more quietly. Let that quiet confidence settle with you, and let the day loosen its grip. Good night.